When you get used to living for others, at some point you lose yourself. You start measuring your words, hiding your wants, shaping your body, your voice, your presence, just to fit. Until one day you realize you don't know who you are anymore. If this resonated inside you, then this video is your road back home. Today, we're going to understand how you lost your identity, find what still exists of you, and rebuild your presence in the world step by step. You're not going to do this alone. I'm here with you. We don't abandon ourselves by choice. We abandon ourselves out of necessity. Maybe you grew up in a place where feeling was being dramatic, wanting was selfish, crying was being weak, so you learned to swallow it all. Maybe someone you loved only stayed calm when you gave in, so you learned to give in. Maybe loving always meant disappearing a little, so you learned to disappear. That didn't make you weak. It made you smart. You did what you needed to do to stay. But now, you don't need that anymore. And this is where the return begins. That loss of identity didn't happen all at once. It wasn't a dramatic event or a conscious decision. It was a slow, almost invisible process, like the tide rising, and you only realize it when the water is already at your neck. It started with small concessions. You stopped sharing an opinion you knew would cause conflict. You changed the way you dressed because someone made a comment. You stopped talking about your interests because you noticed nobody really seemed interested. You learned to laugh at jokes you didn't find funny. You agreed with things you didn't believe in. And each time you did that, you told yourself, it's not a big deal. It's just this once. It's just to keep the peace. But all those little just this once became a pattern, a way of being, a second skin. You became fluid, adaptable, a chameleon. And the people around you loved that. They said you were easy to be around, that you never caused problems, that you were understanding. And you heard those compliments and thought you were doing something right. But inside, something was dimming. Something was getting quieter and quieter. Your inner voice, that once had strong opinions and clear desires, started to whisper, and then to go silent. And you didn't even notice when it happened. When did you stop knowing what you really wanted? When did you start needing other people's approval to validate your own choices? When did your happiness start depending completely on the mood of whoever was around you? You can't point to a specific moment, because there wasn't one. It was gradual, like erosion, like losing weight so slowly that you only notice when the clothes don't fit anymore. And now you're here, looking at your life and asking, who am I? And the answer doesn't come. Because you spent so long being what others needed you to be, that you forgot how to be who you are. But here is the truth you need to hear. You're not completely lost. You're buried under layers and layers of adaptations, masks, edited versions of yourself. But you're still there. Under all of that, you still exist. And the journey of reconstruction is not about becoming someone new. It's about digging, removing everything that isn't you until you find what always was. It's about digging your own voice out of the silence you built around it. And that starts with recognition, with you looking at your story and understanding that you didn't choose to lose yourself. You chose to survive. And to survive, you had to adapt. You had to mold yourself. You had to disappear a little. And that wasn't weakness. It was intelligence. It was resilience. It was love for life, even if that meant living as a smaller version of yourself. But now, you can make a different choice. Now, you can start coming back. Not because the environment changed, not because people around you finally understand, but because you decided that you deserve to find yourself again. That you deserve to recognize yourself. That you deserve to exist fully, even if that makes some people uncomfortable. Even if that changes everything. And you might be thinking, but come back to myself? If I don't even know who I am anymore? That's exactly what we're going to discover now. Your identity didn't disappear. It just went quiet. It shows up in small clues. In the music that gives you chills. In the food that comforts you. In the way you laugh when no one is watching. In the things that deeply irritate you. In the people you feel free around. Your identity is everything that makes you feel alive. Let's do a small exercise now. Take a deep breath. Feel your body and answer without overthinking. What still moves you? A memory? A landscape? A smell? That is you. Your identity left traces, like breadcrumbs on a dark path. And now you're going to follow them back home, back to yourself. These traces are in the details you were never able to completely erase, in the small things that still make your heart race, even when you try not to show it. In your automatic reactions that appear before you manage to control yourself and adjust to what's expected. They're in that song that, when it plays, makes something inside you move. You don't know exactly why. Maybe it's the melody, maybe the lyrics, maybe the memory it carries. But something in it touches a deep place, a place that's still truly yours. They're in the food that gives you a sense of home. Not the food that others like or approve of, but the one that makes you close your eyes and sigh. The one that reminds you of a time when you still knew who you were, or of a place where you were allowed to be yourself. They're in the way you laugh when you're alone, when no one is judging, when you don't have to adjust your laughter, control the volume, or worry if you're being too loud or too weird. That laugh that comes from deep inside, that shakes your whole body, that you don't plan. That laugh is yours. It never stopped being yours. They're in the things that deeply irritate you. Yes, even irritation is a trace of who you are, because anger is a boundary. It's your body and your psyche saying, this isn't right, this isn't okay, this crosses something fundamental in me. When you feel anger, you're feeling your truth being crossed. And even if you learn to swallow it, to hide it, to rationalize it until it disappears, it's still there, still telling you who you are and what you value. They're in the people you feel free around. Those rare people in whose presence you don't need to perform, with whom you can simply exist, with whom your masks fall off effortlessly. Pay attention to how you are when you're with these people. Because that version of you, the relaxed one, the authentic one, is who you really are. It's not the exception. It's the truth you've been hiding from everyone else. And they're also in what moves you, in what makes you want to wake up in the morning, even on difficult days, in what gives you a sense of purpose, even if it's small. It might be taking care of a plant. making someone laugh, creating something with your hands, learning something new. Whatever it is, it wasn't imposed on you. It was born inside you. All these traces are doors back to yourself. And you don't need to walk through all of them at once. You just need to choose one. One small clue, one little thread, and pull it, and see where it takes you. It may feel uncomfortable at first, because you're going to find parts of yourself that were neglected for so long they feel strange, like reconnecting with an old friend after years. There is familiarity, but also distance, recognition, but also strangeness. But the more you allow yourself to explore these traces, the more you remember, the more you reconnect, the more you come home. And notice, your identity is not something fixed that you lost and need to recover exactly as it was. Identity is alive. It grows, it changes, it evolves. You're not trying to go back to who you were at 15. You're trying to discover who you are now under all the layers of adaptation. You're trying to find the authentic version of yourself that exists today. The version that carries everything you've lived, everything you've learned, but that no longer needs to betray itself to be accepted. And that version exists. It has always existed. It was just waiting for you to come back for it. Now that we've found a piece of you, let's understand how to reclaim it without fear. To find yourself again, you don't need to reinvent who you are. You need to remove what isn't yours. Start with 3 simple steps. Stop over-explaining yourself. You don't need to justify every choice. Allow micro-desires, small preferences, small refusals. Not today. Not this. I want that. Create one moment a day that is only yours. 5 minutes is enough. A tea, a walk, an unhurried shower. You're not trying to become someone new. You're returning to what was already yours. Now comes the practical part. The part where you turn this understanding into action, into real change. And it might feel scary, but I promise, you don't need to do anything radical. You don't need to blow up your life. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to make big declarations. Rebuilding identity happens in small moments, in small choices, in the micro decisions you make every day. First step, stop over-explaining yourself. Notice how you justify everything, how you give long, detailed explanations for every decision, how you feel like you need to convince others that your choices are valid. That comes from fear. The fear of being judged, misunderstood, rejected. You learn that your choices need to make sense to others, that they need to be defended, that you need to prove you deserve to do what you're doing. But you don't. When someone asks, "Why don't you want to go?" you don't need a long reason. "I'm tired" is enough. "I'm not in the mood" is enough. "Not today" is enough. And here's the secret. The more you explain, the more you open space for argument. The more you invite the other to question your decision. But when you simply state your choice, without over-justifying, you're saying, "This is what I chose," and that's enough. You're positioning yourself as someone whose will has value in itself, without needing external validation. At first, this will feel rude. It will feel like you're being cold, distant, inflexible, because you're used to bending, explaining, apologizing for existing. But it's not rude to have boundaries. It's not rude to be clear. It's not rude to not justify every move you make. Second step, allow micro-desires. This is one of the most powerful steps, because you spent so long ignoring your desires that now they feel insignificant. But they're not insignificant. These micro-desires are exercises, training, ways to relearn how to hear yourself and honor yourself. Not today, when someone invites you to something you don't want to do, even if you don't have a good reason, even if you simply don't feel like it. Not this, when someone offers you something you don't want. Food, help, advice. You can simply say no without feeling guilty, without needing to accept everything that comes your way. I want this when you have a preference about where to eat, what to watch, where to go. You can say what you want, not just when no one else cares, but even when others have different opinions. These micro-desires are like muscles. The more you exercise them, the stronger they get, and slowly you'll notice it gets easier. You won't feel that tightness in your chest every time you say no. You won't feel that crushing guilt every time you choose something for yourself. And the people around you will adjust. They'll learn that you have wants, that you're not just a mirror reflecting what they want. And the ones who truly love you will respect that. Some will even feel relieved, happy to finally see you occupying your own space. Third step, create a moment just for you each day. You need time alone with yourself. Time when you're not for anyone. When you're not adapting, adjusting, shrinking. And it doesn't need to be long. 5 minutes is a start. 5 minutes where you're fully present with yourself. It can be in the shower. Instead of turning it into a quick functional task, you turn it into a ritual, feeling the water on your skin, the temperature, the sound, the sensation. It can be a tea or coffee. Instead of drinking it while doing 1,000 other things, you sit down, hold the cup, feel the warmth, smell the aroma, take small sips, be there in that moment, just you and your drink. It can be a walk, even around the block, no headphones, no distractions, just you, your thoughts, and the world around you. These moments are sacred because they are moments where you practice the most important thing, being with yourself, not doing anything, not producing anything, not being useful to anyone, just existing. And in those moments, something starts to happen. You start hearing yourself again. Thoughts appear, feelings emerge, desires show up, and you're there, present, to receive them. You're creating internal space, a place inside you where you can actually live, a space that belongs to you. And the more you do this, the more you reconnect, the more you remember who you are, the more you come home to yourself. But reconstruction also means grief, grieving the version of you who had to survive. Let's talk about that. There is a version of you that was very strong, the one who adapted, stayed quiet, made herself smaller. That version kept you alive, kept you standing. Be grateful for her. But now, she doesn't need to control everything anymore. You can say, I don't need to abandon myself to be loved, and let that version rest. That's reconciliation. That's emotional maturity. That's self-love. There is a painful part in this process that no one talks about. A part that isn't about celebration, but about loss, about grief. Because to come back to yourself, you need to let go of a version of you that was extremely important. A version that protected you. That, in a way, saved you. It's the version that learned to adapt, that could read the emotional climate of any room in seconds, that knew exactly what to say to calm things down, to smooth things over, to avoid conflict. The version that could become whatever others needed, even when that cost you yourself. That version wasn't bad. She wasn't weak. She was a survivor, a warrior. She did what had to be done for you to get here. She kept you in relationships when you were terrified of being alone. She kept you in toxic environments when you didn't see a way out. She kept you standing when all you wanted was to collapse. And now, as you rebuild your identity, you're telling that version, "Thank you, but I don't need you to run everything anymore." And that hurts. Because that version was you for so long that it seems like without her you won't know who to be. It feels like you'll be empty, like you're betraying yourself somehow. But you're not betraying. You're evolving. You're allowing that version to rest because she's tired. She carried a weight that was never meant to be hers. She protected you in ways no part of you should have had to protect you. And now, you can honor her, thank her, acknowledge everything she did, and then let her go. This is grief. It's loss. It's a symbolic death, and you need to allow it to be painful. Allow yourself to feel sadness. Allow yourself to cry for that version of you who will no longer be in control. Because when you grieve her, when you allow that pain, you create space. Space for something new. Space for the authentic version of you that was buried. Space to exist without needing to be in survival mode all the time. And here's something important. You're not killing that adaptable version completely. You're not becoming rigid, inflexible, unable to read social cues. You're just taking her out of the driver's seat. You're telling her she doesn't need to be the main voice anymore. That she can exist as a tool, not as your identity. You can still be adaptable when it makes sense, when it's a conscious choice, when it doesn't cost you yourself. But you no longer need to be adaptable by default, as a survival mode, as your only way of relating. And this change, this transition from survival to authenticity, doesn't happen all at once. It's not a single moment. It's a process with ups and downs. Days when you feel strong, and days when you slip back into old patterns because they're familiar, safe. And that's okay. You don't need to be perfect in this journey. You just need to be aware. Keep choosing, whenever possible, authenticity over adaptation. Keep choosing yourself over the fear of losing others. And slowly, very slowly, the authentic version of you will take up more space, will become stronger, will become your new way of existing. And one day you'll realize you no longer need to abandon yourself to be loved. You can be loved as you are. And if you're not, you can still be with yourself. And that is infinitely better than being with someone and being lost from yourself. You are not becoming someone else. You are coming home, back to your voice, your timing, your rhythm, your courage, your dreams. You're remembering what has always been yours. You were not made to fit into anyone. You were made to exist whole. This is the moment where everything converges, where all the work you've done, all the awareness you've built, all the courage you've gathered, comes together in a simple but profound truth. You are coming home. And home is not a physical place. It's not a person. It's not an external situation. Home is you. It's the feeling of being aligned with who you really are. It's the sense of peace that comes when you're no longer at war with yourself, when you're no longer betraying yourself just to be accepted. It's when you can look in the mirror and recognize who you see, not just physically but emotionally, spiritually. It's when you can say, "This is me," and feel that it's true. You're coming back to your voice, the voice that was silenced for so long, that had opinions, desires, fears, dreams. And now, you're learning to let it speak again. At first, it comes out shaky, insecure, almost inaudible. But the more you use it, the stronger it gets, clearer, more confident. You're coming back to your time, your own rhythm of living, not the rhythm others impose, not the speed society demands. Your rhythm, the one that lets you breathe, that lets you feel, that lets you exist without being constantly exhausted. You're coming back to your courage, the courage that was always in you, but that was used to survive, to adapt. Now, you're redirecting that courage, using it to be yourself, to exist authentically, to take up space, to say no, to say yes, to choose, to live. You're coming back to your dreams, the dreams you buried because they seemed impossible, because no one believed in them, or because you were never allowed to even have them. Now, you're digging those dreams back up. You're letting them exist again. You're considering the possibility that maybe, just maybe, you can actually go after them. And you're remembering what was always yours. What was never negotiable, even when you tried to negotiate it away. What is essential to you, even when you tried to live without it. You were not made to fit inside anyone. You were not made to shrink, to squeeze yourself into spaces too small for who you are. You were made to exist whole, with all your complexities, with all your contradictions, with all your truths. And this is the greatest gift you can give yourself, the permission to be fully you, without apologizing, without over-explaining, without shrinking. You've made it this far, and that is incredible, that is brave, that is powerful. And from here on, every step you take toward yourself is a victory. Every moment you choose authenticity over adaptation is a celebration. Every time you take up space without asking for permission is a quiet revolution. You're coming home, and it's beautiful, and it's scary, and it's necessary, and you are not alone in this. Breathe. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to love without repeating the same cycles. Because now that you've come back to yourself, love needs to learn how to find you again. If you're ready to keep walking this path, write in the comments, "I'm starting to recognize myself."